What's good out there, degenerates? It's your boy, the one and only, the only one, Digital Chef. And today what we're going to do is we're going to hit that like button, we're going to hit the subscribe button, and we're going to talk about how to get better at passing and setting up your adjustments at the line of scrimmage. Today we're going to be breaking down the pass game in Madden 2020 on next gen PS5. Let's go ahead and get into this video, all right? So what we're talking about today is how you can make adjustments at the line of scrimmage to get better protection for your quarterback and ultimately give you a good pocket to make better throws. Now, there's a few things I want to teach you guys, just some football knowledge before we actually get into it. I always find it necessary to mix real football with Madden and try to see if we can get any type of realism out of this particular game. So for your first real football fact today is there's different types of blitzes. The internet is plagued, especially the Madden community, with blitzes, and that's not the correct term for most of the things that we see inside of Madden. I'm going to talk to you guys about this for a minute. Now, if we look at this cover one robber, you're going to see that it's sending 4. This is just a regular rush, right? If I was to send 5, like you're going to see here on the Buck slant 3, that is considered a pressure. You have as many people rushing as you have protecting. Now, a blitz is whenever you're going to send more people rushing than you actually have protecting. So if I only have my 5 offensive linemen and I send 6, that is going to be considered a blitz. So just remember, blitz is always 1 plus the amount of people you have protecting the quarterback. A pressure is when you send 5-on-5 or 6-on-6. That is a particular pressure. And yes, it does count your actual running back as well. So now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to call cover 4 quarters. I'm going to come out in any offensive play, and it doesn't really matter here. I want to show you guys how the offensive line protects naturally. Now, just like real life, the offensive line is going to protect inside out, and that is because the fastest way to the quarterback is a direct path to the quarterback. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So right now I have Evans on a blitz. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pinch all of my linemen inside, and sometimes you have to do this twice. So there we go. We're going to do a little pinch here, and then on offense I'm going to block my running back. Everyone is going to protect inside out. This is how we count. So a lot of times you'll see offensive linemen pointing at particular people. They're pointing at who they may have or where they're counting at. You can't hear this on games, but a lot of times offensive linemen will count to let them know who they're going to pick up when it is a pass or if it's a run or whatever it may be. So you're calling out your protection at the line of scrimmage so everyone is on the same page. Again, we're counting from inside out. So you have 2 people in the A gap over your centers. That's going to start at 1. And then you have 2 on the outside. So we're going to go 1, 1, and then 2s are on the outside. It's going to be split between the actual center. So we're going to have 2 1s and 2 2s. And I have a 3 all the way outside, which is going to be this guy, Evans. So right now we're counting 1, 2, 3 on the right, and we're counting 1, 2 on the left side of my center. We're going to make sure that the 1s are picked up, and then we're going to go out to the 2 and then to the 3. Watch this, what happens. You'll see that right now, everyone picked up the inside first, and then we picked up the outside. Let's instant replay that real quick. So we pick up, you'll see that everyone steps to these 2 guys here. So right now we have a 3 on 2, right? And I'll show you how they count. So my 2 guards are going to take their 1. You'll see that 62 and 69 are going to take 1. This guy's going to be responsible for 2, right? Because 1, 2. And then my center is free to help on strong side. He's going to help the 2 guys over here. And since we went 2, my tackle is going to take the 2. And now my running back, you see he's facing number 3. And that's how they count. Everyone counted 1, 2, 3. My running back is going to take 3. So he's just sitting there waiting, but he's going to stay inside just in case somebody gets free, because ultimately he wants to help inside out first, and he should be taking 3. So now that we know how to count at the line of scrimmage, we know how everybody's going to be picked up. We're going to be good to go. That is the one good thing that Madden actually has down packed about the run game this year, or the pass game this year, is the counting and actual how the protections work is awesome. That's just how it works. So now let's talk about where my center is going to go, right? Because you see that we counted and our guards picked up the people in the A gap. Now what happened with your center? So your center always is going to help on the strong side. And I found this is a little weird because normally he's going to help opposite of that running back, but right now I don't think they had that programmed in. They probably won't never have it programmed in, but he's always going to help to the strong side. So if we snap here with base, you see that my center always double teams the guy on the left side of the field, because the left side is a particular strong side of the actual formation. So let's go back into and look at the instant replay real quick. So strong side of formation is going to be over here with this particular nickel cornerback. And you'll see that my center is going to go ahead and help strong side of formation. Now you may be saying that's because we have a running back on the other side and a tight end on the other side, but I did flip this and it doesn't seem to matter. Center always goes to that A gap to the strong side of the formation. And you'll see here, he does the exact same thing no matter what. That's just how it works. That's just how the program happens. So now that we know where our double team is going, how we're accounting, you can actually start picking up blitzes with this bit of information. And I'm going to show you a little something that kind of works all the time for me. Let's go ahead and call an actual pressure. So I'm going to run cover 1 linebacker blitz and it's going to send 5. So I'm going to make sure that I only have 5 people blocking so we can see how the computer reacts and responds and counts to the 5-man rush without any adjustments. So here we go with the 5-man rush. Again, we know that the center is going to help out on the strong side of the formation. Right now, the strong side of the defense looks like it's going to be that left side again, because that's where that nickel is. And we're going to count again from our outside of our center on the left to the outside. So we're going to go 1, 2. So we have a guard on our D tackle here and our left tackle is on that end. We have a guard on the D tackle here with his hand down, and we have a left tackle on our 9 technique outside of line of scrimmage. And our center is responsible for helping out on strong side, right? So here we go. You see that our center automatically takes his step towards that strong side of the formation, and he starts to see that this guy is coming in, and we already said that we help inside out. So he's going to fall back, and now we have 1-on-1. This is a pressure, but everyone is on the man that they counted at the line of scrimmage. So you have a guard on defensive tackles, and you have our tackles, our left tackle and right tackle on both 9 techniques, and our center is taking that guy right there. This is going to not only help you out with creating blitzes, but it also is going to help you out with your protections. So we see across the board, we have everyone picked up, blah, 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 we're good to go. But what happens if you just have one guy who's just wrecking you and you cannot stop him? Well, this is what I like to do. You can do things like line shifts, and you can change who your double team is going to come upon. So let's go back to a basic 4-man rush. So if you have a basic 4-man rush, we know that we're going to get a double team someplace because we have 5 blockers and we only have 4 people rushing. And we know that double team right now is going to come from the center or the strong side of the formation. But we don't normally want to double tackles, because tackles, even though they're the fastest way to the quarterback, we tend to get more pressures from the outside, especially in Madden. So what I like to do is actually shift my line away from my running back if I have someone in the backfield, or away from the double team. So let's say that the person giving us hell is going to be this right end over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shift my line towards or away from the guy that's giving me the most problems. So this way we're going to shift him to the left. Then I double team backside. So I'm going to go ahead and double team him. So right now I've shifted my line to the left to say, hey guys, I want you to slide to the left, but I want the double team to be on the guy backside. So this changes the count for my offensive line. So now we're going to get a double team backside, and my center should actually be the person that takes up this tackle. Let's see what happens. So you'll see now my center is the person who goes and gets that defensive tackle. Why does that happen? Because we're changing the way that we're counting. We're also changing the double team. So now we're no longer saying, hey, we're protecting inside out and the double team is going to come from the center. We're now saying that double team is going to come from the tackle and the guard. So if I'm taking my tackle and my guard to double this outside guy, my center can no longer help here. He can no longer help here. He has to come over to this guy because the count has changed. So what that actually does is now you know where your pocket is going to be. So learning this technique can also help you figure out where your pocket is going to be and where you can kind of expect the breakdowns. So if I was to change, let's go ahead and do this one more time. If I was to change this double team, I see that my pocket is being formed right here, kind of in the middle, because that's where my center is going to give me that space. I also know that my center has to travel to go get that D tackle. So more than likely, I'm going to have a real nice pocket right here in the middle that he's creating for me. See, because I changed the count, and my center has to come all the way over here to get this guy, I get a really nice pocket to step up into right here, versus my center kind of staying in the middle and kind of helping out on the 2 D tackle. Look at that real nice pocket I have set up right there to step into. So now let's look at a blitz, and I'm going to show you how the computer acts when you just have a native blitz, no changes, and you have a 6-man pressure versus 5 people blocking. So for this particular blitz, we have 2 people going B gap, which are going to be our linebackers. And then we have 2 people going A gap, which are going to be our defensive tackles crashing down. And then our 9 techniques are going to be going C gap. And somebody should come free because we only have 5 people blocking. So let's see what happens. So boom, we have somebody come scot free. Now let's look at this one more time and see why it happened. Now, we said that the center always helps out strong side, right? So if we were to do our count, we're going to count from our center. We're going to go 1 is going to be, so 62 is going to take D tackle, 69 is going to take D tackle, 75 should take D in, 57 should take D in. But remember, we protect from inside out, right? So what you're going to see is 75 does take that D in, but that backer comes scot free. So you may be asking yourself why that backer came scot-free in that particular situation, and it's because of where we identified the mic. We identified the mic as the strong side middle linebacker. If we were to identify him as the weak side middle linebacker, there would be a different guy that comes free because that ultimately is going to change the protection. So let's watch the protection on this one. You'll see that instead of this time that middle linebacker on the weak side coming free, our defensive end came free. So let's identify the middle backer here. Let's see who comes scot free again. Now we have that middle linebacker on the weak side come free. 6-man blitz, somebody comes open and it's changing based off of who you're identifying. So if you know that this is a 6-man blitz, both of the middle linebackers are coming, you can absolutely identify the middle backer as the weak side and just roll out away from that guy, right? Now you're changing how you're picking up this blitz, and you know where the blitz is coming from, so you'll know how to stop it. So let's do this again. Let's go middle backer weak side. Let's look and see how they pick it up. Boom. All right. Let's look at instant replay. So if we look at instant replay and we identify the middle backer as this guy, that absolutely changes the way that we are going to count, right? So now what we're doing is we're changing the strong side, or the side that that center is going to, because when the middle backer was this guy, our center always went to the left because that was who we were identifying as a strong side Mike. Now we've identified him as a strong side Mike, or the middle of the defense, and now our center goes to the right, which ultimately means that we're going to count differently now for the line of scrimmage, but we'll talk about that later. And so my center is coming over to help my tackle or my guard that's on the right, and my tackle is going to take the same person, but my guard on the right now has a double team, so he can fall off. He falls off because he sees the blitz coming. We protect inside out. Remember, we always protect inside out. So now you're going to ask yourself, well, why does 57 not take that D in? Well, because the way that we count, which is inside out, that guy is coming for B gap. He has to protect that B gap. This is why this guy comes scot-free. Now, as much as we don't like Madden, and as much as we hate this game, that is absolutely the correct call that we should make as an offensive line to pick up this blitz. And as a quarterback, when you identify that blitz and you know that guy's coming, you can change your blitz like we said and get out of there. Now let's talk about the next step of this particular defense. So let's talk about what you can do to not have to trim out the pocket and pick everyone up. If I have identified a blitz, meaning I have more people rushing me than I actually have protected me, I just need somebody extra to protect me. This can be a tight end or it can be a running back. I personally like my running back to be the person that protects me because he can chop block, and that's always a great thing, especially if you're trying to get the edge. For this particular scenario, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my line away from my running back, and I'm going to allow my running back to just block. So what we're going to do is we're going to ID the Mike as the strong side, but I'm going to shift my line to the left. Okay. Now that we've shifted our line to the left, I'm going to block my running back. I always shift my line away from my running back, so if we have to, my running back can chip that backside DM. I'm also going to change my double team. I'm going to change my double team to be away from my running back. Now this is going to force everyone to slide over, and you'll see what happens. So we still get sacked there, but I'm going to show you why I did what I did, and hopefully that makes sense. So we still got the quick pressure there, but I'm going to show you why I did what I did. And now that we know all the information we know, you'll actually understand why this play happened the way it happened. So we did a line shift, and we also changed our double team, which we said ultimately changes our count. So I've shifted my line of scrimmage away from my running back, right? And then I double team the strong side. So what happened is, well, what I was expecting to happen was these guys to come out here for the double team, but this guy ultimately to fall back, pick him back up. We didn't get it. The awareness probably not that high on that guy, but that's normally what would happen is you would double team out here. And if anyone's coming in this gap, this guy would technically fall off. It looks like the double team overrode that. So maybe we can just try doing it without the particular double team on this. The line shift should be fine because that changes the way that we're picking this up. But everyone else did exactly what we thought it would do. When we didn't have the line shift, this guy counted him as his 2. Well, right now with the line shift, we count this guy. We're counting this guy as 2 now. So my tackle is going to actually pick up the DN, which you'll see here. But what happens is since he has that linebacker coming down, he falls back to that linebacker. But the key here is my running back. We let this guy on the edge go and we looked at my running back did. We get that good, nice chop block that we like. This gives us, when we see this chop block, this gives us this entire side to run at now because now everyone else is pinned. His job was contain. And since he gets chop block, he no longer can contain. This is why we always put the running back on our 9 technique so we can get the chop on the DM and get that outside. And you can use this whether it's a blitz or a pressure or whatever. I always shift away. And even if there's not a double team, we should technically get that same setup. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, we get that same setup and now we can just get outside. So let's run this without the double team and I'll show you what happens. So it looks like we didn't need the double team. We get the chop block there and now we're off to the races. We're good to go. So again, just a simple line shift away from your running back changes the way that you're counting this, right? So now we count, our tackle's gonna come in. He's gonna pick up that backer right there. We chop that guy, we're out. But if we don't do this line shift, this guy is ultimately going to come out to that 9 technique and your running back is going to have to pick up inside. Let's do that. Let's do it without the line shift to show you why the running back picks up inside, right? So we'll go here. You see my running back immediately goes inside because we protect inside out and because of how the offensive lineman counted on the line. So if there's one good thing that we learned today, Madden actually has the pass game pretty down packed if you're not glitching it out. Now we start throwing in glitches and we're going to a line of scrimmage, blitzing people and then falling back. That's where the AI kind of gets a little dumb. But for the base AI, it's actually pretty good. And as always, I'm your host, DJ the Chef. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back with more pass tips later on this year, but I hope you like this one. All right, peace.